So that car is not something you've missed. That video was made May 26, 2019. I've had this car for a very, very long time, around about 7 years. All right. And I actually had acquired this car shortly after, or right around the time that the EG sedan that I launched the channel with got stolen. Right. So quick little rundown on that for anybody who hasn't seen it before. Again, like I said, I got it right when around the EG was stolen, or right around that time, or probably before, because I moved right like a day or so after it was stolen. But I had the car for a while, had to set up for it. I had to build in there. Then I wound up moving to West Virginia. That engine came out. I picked up my first sponsorship. So that swap got pulled out of it, while I was up there, and a new swap was assembled and put in there. And then I just, I was in a bad spot where I wound up being in a bad spot where I lost a lot of money and just didn't, even though I had the space to work on the car. It was actually one of my dream houses, to be honest. I had the space to work on a car, but I didn't have the money and the funds. So it kind of got put on the back burner. I wound up moving back to Florida from where I was at. And, I wound up pulling the engine out of the car again because the car was so slammed that it was just easier for me to transport without the engine in there. Moved back to Florida, put the engine back in again. Started doing some things to work around the car. The Integra was kind of like the Uber version of what happened with the S2000, where I was just like, I only need a couple things and it can run and drive, and I just didn't do that for a very long time. So in 2019, I started to get the itch, started to get the bug, started doing things in the car. I had a crank no start issue that I eventually realized that my fuel pump wasn't priming, and then I figured out what my fuel pump issue was, or I think somebody had put an alarm system in the car, and they spliced some cables and the shit had come apart. So I just kind of twist the wires up, and I got fuel. And then of course what you saw in the video in the beginning was the car running very poorly. The reason why I'm starting to think about this now, and why I wanted to kind of put my thoughts together, is because again the S2000 is about to be finished, and I'm already looking for the next project. And I think just the motivation to get back into this is because of the fact that I finished a car and I'm wanting some more, because it is kind of a weird feeling to to be like, well, this is done, I just need to make my appointment to tune, and then the car is tuned, and I'll have the numbers off of it, and then it's just making the car stable and safe to drive, especially with that kind of power it's going to have. So, but again, the S2000 got me thinking about this situation with you hear the cars chugging, struggling to stay alive. I had it on a stock ECU. I do have a Honda version 2 stashed somewhere, but it was on a stock ECU because I don't think I have a jumper for the car right now. And so it's running very rough, obviously running very rough. And I think that, again, having the idea from the S2000 being that maybe I can just I get a map sensor on there and it'll help, because maybe it's also struggling to stay alive. Same reason why the S2000 crank no started until I put the 4-bar on there. It's got a stock map sensor on there currently with big boy injectors. I believe they're 750s. They may be bigger. The fact that it started at all was actually a bit of a shock. But the thing is, it wasn't very responsive. The car, I was throttling the pedal, which is why you see the car kind of shaking around a little bit, or the camera shaking around a little bit. So I was throttling the fucking cable, or hitting the gas pedal, and I wasn't really getting any kind of response. Now here's the situation I'm dealing with. A year or so back, I think probably about 2 years ago, I tried to turn the car on, but it didn't really work. I tried to use starter fluid. It puffed and spitted and hissed, but it didn't start. But in the process of doing that, I found an oil leak. The cam seal is leaking like a motherfucker. So that'll come to the rundown of what I really need to do with the Integra to get it running. As far as it sits, it ran as it is now before. I think it'll probably run a little bit better with a 4-bar map sensor on there. So I'm going to get a map sensor. I completely forgot how expensive those things were. I bought a Speed Factory map sensor for the S2000. It's like $100 and change. So I'm like, fuck, here we go, spending $100 for a part again. So I'm going to get a map sensor. and I need to pull the valve cover off. I'm going to reseal everything and put that back on, and that should take care of the oil leak, and then I should be able to run the car. Hopefully, like I said, the map sensor will fix it, but I also got to remember that it's been several years since fuel's been put in that car, so the fuel that's in there is undoubtedly old as fuck. Now, I believe I probably put new fuel in there again when I tried to start it last time, and I would imagine it's probably 2 gallons. So there's probably at least 4 gallons in that tank, which I believe is a 10 or 11 gallon tank in the Integra of fuel that is old as fuck. I'm not 100% sure octane boost will be enough to bring it back to life. And I'm in a situation where the car's on an incline, a downward incline, so I can't just jack it up and pump fuel. Although I could do something I haven't done in a long time, which is just, take the fuel feed line off the rail and key on the fucking car and drain it that way. It'll take forever, but it fucking works. I've done it before. Maybe I'll do that. I might probably do, or skim a bunch off of it and then put some new fuel in there. But as far as it being able to run, that's really it. I just need to get some healthy fuel in there, and maybe the new bigger map sensor will help with those bigger injectors. I will need a 255 fuel pump, so I need to buy that as well. I talked to the tuner a while back. I was like, hey, look, the car doesn't have any brakes, but could you still tune it? And he's like, yeah, I just use the dyno brake. I'm like, of course you can. So here's a situation where I goes to be able to be driving it. I need to switch out my knuckles because mine are fucking destroyed, and I'm tired of trying to press new bearings in. So I'm gonna swap out the knuckles, which I already have. I'm gonna need rotors, calipers, and brakes. And the reason why I want to kind of approach this situation the way I am is because I don't want to do the same shit twice. The car's been sitting for years. All the tires dry rotted. I need tires all the way around. I'm gonna see if I can get cheap tires, to be honest, and probably put it on a set of wheels I have. The rims I want to use, I only have 3 of. I fucked up one. I only have 3 of those, and for me to buy a replacement rim, it's gonna be like $200 and change. I figure for that, I might be able to get 2 tires. If just 16-inch tires, buy the cheapest fucking things I can find. It'll probably be better off if I just use a set of wheels I have and just put some booty ass tires on those just to get it on all fours. Why? To make the car roll so I can maneuver it around again, right? And then once I do the tire situation, once I have those off to be putting tires on, I can go ahead and change the knuckles out, put rotors, calipers, brakes on there, and then finish my ABS delete. I bought the cables a couple weeks back, and I wanted so that way I'm not just taking it off to put tires on, then I'm taking it off again to change the knuckle, then I'm taking it off again to put the rotors and calipers on there. So it's I'm kind of in a weird spot where I'm gonna need to spend a couple $100, maybe like $500, to get the car representatively rolling and whatnot. And also, my turbo sits really low to the ground because I have an adapter on there. A friend gave me a turbo, but it's a T4. The manifold's a T3. So it was too big to fit on that manifold. So I had to use an adapter. That adapter adds 3 or 4 inches. Now, I talked to Lee about maybe making the turbo adapted for that. But he's like, it's like 140, which is fine. That's fair labor. But the thing is the turbo that's on there is a generic ass turbo, and for like $100, I could throw another generic ass turbo on there that's actually a T3 that fits, and that'll save me like $40. And that's probably something that I will do because right now I want to, I'm not making a lot of extra money. Some extra money is starting to come in, thankfully. But until the S2000 is done, I can't really devote full funds to that yet. But I also would like to start getting in motions and start doing things. So the one easy thing I can do is reseal the valve cover. So this weekend coming, I'll probably do that. And then my intercooler piping setup is actually almost finished. And I believe I actually have the couplers and the clamps. And in the back, I just need to put them on. And then I bought brackets years ago to try and jerry-rig the fucking intercooler so that way it's not moving around. So this weekend, if I get any work done, the idea will be to finish the intercooler piping. Oh, but I can't do that if I'm going to swap out the turbo. That's the reason why I stopped. That's the reason why I didn't finish that, because of the whole turbo situation. I bought that spacer, or I bought that adapter, wasn't happy with it, figured I was only going to go back to it, and that's the reason why I stopped. So Anyway, I've been awake for 20 plus hours, so I can't get all my thoughts together organized. But in a nutshell, that's all the things that's missing from that. The car runs as it is. It's just it's not healthy, stable. It needs to be tuned. And to do that, I'm gonna need the map sensor and I need a fuel pump. Um, which thankfully the Integra is a way easier fuel pump to swap out than it was in the S2000. So fuel pump map sensor, that's gonna be like $150, $160 investment right there. And then once that's done, I will get the brakes and everything situated. So again, I said like that video clip you saw in the beginning was May 26th, 2019. Because of the fact that my second year anniversary date's coming up for the S2000, and I would like to get it tuned by then. And I would like to be able to say that the Integra is ready to tune also by its anniversary, which I think is doable, especially if I can sell either a couple of small items that I can make some money off of, like if I can sell some rocker arms or sell the oil pump I have, that's a couple $100 right there potentially. If I could do a build for somebody, that would be enough to finish off the Integra. But I think it's kind of cool. Like I've gone the entire history of this channel without like a real power making car that I can feature, to being like within 2 months I could have two back to back. That'd be great. And honestly, I believe that the Integra would probably faster than the S2000, even though the S2000 just needs a tune at this point, which is already running and driving. It's just the fact that I don't know how far into that situation with the chassis am I going to dig into before the car is stable enough to be able to run in a straight line and actually put down that power. So I can't even safely do a pull past 60 miles an hour in that car as it is right now without throwing some more money at to fix some stuff there. And I don't really know how the Integra is going to drive because I never got to drive the car. I've been carrying this car around for 7 fucking years and I've never driven it. I got it as a shell and it's never run under its own power. That's probably a car I'll be buried in unless I fucking crash or something, because I've spent nearly a decade with this thing. There's no way in hell I'm ever letting it go. As a matter of fact, the only thing that you might do with it is probably change its life and be more of a showcase car. It's a B in there right now. I would like to eventually pull that B out and put a K in it, and then maybe K all-wheel drive, which I already have a K all-wheel drive car or transmission. I just need to put it in. All right, guys, that's it. This already went way longer than I expected to. I probably rambled a lot, but for those of you guys that are new and you just want to know what was going on, if you thought you missed something, you didn't. You're just here in time to see the end of it, hopefully. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and peace.